You see, it is a problem with our very strong official propaganda against the marijuana, that it will be a subgroup then of users and agitators who refuse everything. We have first Sunday in May, isn't it? Where it is the Cannabis Day.
Oh yeah.
And
first Saturday in May.
First Saturday, okay. I was invited to talk there once.
Yeah.
I was confronted with a lot of slogans on big posters that marijuana or cannabis is just equal to a vegetable.
Oh.
So it's sort of counterculture. So I had to be a very great disappointment for the audience in the beginning, at least, by insisting that this is completely wrong. You get influenced by smoking it, and there should be built up lots of rules. If you want to use it, I will not interfere with that question, but if you use it, it should be, and as you mentioned, not the first thing in the morning, not before you go to school, not in the great intermission in the school time, not if you have something sensible to do, nothing, not if you should take care of kids or drive a car and all that. So this propaganda, this very, very single-eyed propaganda backfires, and you go completely, it is forbidden, therefore we cannot educate in how to use it.
Yeah. Nils, you know, it's true. I mean, one of the challenges we have with advocating for ending marijuana prohibition is some of our allies, because some of our allies will, I remember one time in New Mexico, we were advocating and being close to winning the medical marijuana law, and some of our allies showed up with pro-marijuana propaganda. And, you know, the television cameras look at them, and the politicians who are ready to join with us become scared. And so it is a problem. I mean, it's a problem really in any movement around social change, where people who are too enthusiastic or who believe that the definition of activism is simply opening your mouth and proclaiming what you believe rather than acting strategically to try to accomplish the objective. That's always a great challenge. You know, I know in the United States, when I'm asked to speak at the May celebration or at the Hempfest, the decision I've made is that I will the only ones I will speak at are like the Hempfest in Seattle. Because at Hempfest in Seattle, you have 100,000 people. You have city officials there. It's a major political statement. But when you just have a small number of people and it's not done strategically, sometimes it can make the people feel good to be there, but politically it actually ends up pushing you back a bit because it confirms the prejudices of the people who are opposed to what we're fighting for.
That's why there's an initiative in the state of Washington now, and one of the greatest advocates is this travel writer by the name of Rick Steves. And
is he actually Norwegian
American?
I think
he is. I think he is. Anyway, he must be tall and blonde and the straightest looking person you
looks
ever
Norwegian.
know. He really is. He's just great, and he's articulate, and he's out there advocating for legalization.
If you know the travel books, I don't know what maybe you know because they're American, but Frommer's or the other guidebooks for traveling, this one's called Rick Steves' travel book. So his name is known by millions of people, and he's very open about being a cannabis consumer. And he's been willing to speak out, and he's just about the straightest looking guy, and he's an incredibly effective advocate for this cause.
But I think it is very important to meet on this first day in May for saying these things. It was, I have to tell that little sweet story about it, because the year before there had been trouble with the police and with people who were ordinary people or strong drinkers, some violence. So I ended my little speech by saying, you know, in the tradition of this stuff, it is peace, peaceful acts, be kind, and you should of course particularly be kind towards the policemen. There are lots of police around there. And they, I think they listened. So it went so smooth. And the next day, the chief of the police, with the responsibility for this, he phoned the chief the chief organizer, and thanked him for the very, very nice behaving of this whole group of agitators for cannabis.
Yeah.
So it was so beautiful to know that it was possible.
That's happened also a lot in the U.S., where there's a very deliberate strategy that the police are not our enemy. The police job is to enforce the laws, but that is their job. And you know, and so there was just a major march of tens of thousands of people in New York City a few months ago to protest against the high level of arrests of marijuana and the big, what we call stop and frisk policy, where the police last year stopped and searched 600,000 people, oftentimes with no legal basis. And in the United States, it's not legal to do that, but the police do it anyway. But the police were everywhere, but everything was calm, respectful. It's very important.